Africa is experiencing an unprecedented demographic boom. The numbers are staggering. By 2030, half of the world's new workforce will be African. Fast forward to 2075, and a mind-blowing 1 in 3 people on Earth will call Africa home. This youthful energy is a game changer. It has the potential to reshape the global landscape. Imagine a world where Africa is no longer associated with poverty and aid. Instead, it's a hub of innovation, entrepreneurship, and growth. This is the promise of Africa's demographic dividend. But realizing this potential requires a shift in perspective. We need to move beyond outdated narratives and recognize the continent's true potential. This is not to say that challenges don't exist. Africa still faces significant obstacles, from poverty and inequality to conflict and climate change. However, amidst these challenges lies an undeniable sense of hope. A belief that a brighter future is within reach, a future where Africa takes its rightful place on the world stage. Here's a head-scratcher. Africa is home to a massive and growing population, yet its economic contribution remains disproportionately low. Think about it. The combined GDP of all 54 African countries is less than that of Germany. It's like having a team full of star players, but constantly losing the game. This paradox is a symptom of deeper issues. For decades, African economies have been hampered by a legacy of colonialism, conflict, and poor governance. These factors have stifled growth, hindered investment, and perpetuated poverty. It's time to flip the script. To unleash its economic potential, Africa needs to address these historical injustices. This means tackling corruption, strengthening institutions, and creating an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. It's about empowering African entrepreneurs and giving them the tools they need to succeed. Think of the African continent as a puzzle. Each country is a piece, unique and valuable in its own right. But when these pieces come together, they form a complete and beautiful picture. That's the power of African unity. For too long, African nations have been fragmented, divided by artificial borders and historical baggage. This has led to low levels of intra-African trade, limited cooperation, and missed opportunities. It's time to tear down these walls and build bridges of collaboration. Imagine a future where goods, services, and people move freely across the continent, where African countries leverage their collective strength to negotiate better trade deals and attract foreign investment. This is the vision of a united and integrated Africa. Enter the African Continental Free Trade Area, or AFCFTA for short. This ambitious agreement aims to create a single market for goods and services across the African continent. It's like the European Union, but with more spice. The potential benefits of AFCFTA are immense. By removing trade barriers, it can boost intra-African trade, create jobs, and accelerate economic growth. Imagine a future where a Senegalese entrepreneur can easily sell their products in Kenya, or a Nigerian tech startup can access funding from South African investors. AFCFTA is not just about economics. It's about fostering a sense of Pan-Africanism. It's about recognizing our shared history, celebrating our diversity, and building a brighter future together. It's a beacon of hope for a continent ready to claim its rightful place on the global stage. Section 5. Navigating the challenges of integration. Now let's be real for a second. Implementing a trade agreement of this magnitude is no walk in the park. AFCFTA faces its fair share of challenges. From addressing national interests to improving infrastructure, there's a lot of work to be done. One of the biggest hurdles is overcoming the legacy of protectionism. Some countries are reluctant to open up their markets, fearing competition from their neighbors. Others are hesitant to give up their sovereignty. It's like a group project where everyone wants to be the leader. Then there's the issue of infrastructure. Africa needs better roads, railways and ports to facilitate trade. Without these essential links, goods will remain stuck at borders, and the full potential of AFCFTA will remain untapped. Overcoming these challenges will require strong political will, innovative solutions, and a commitment to collaboration. Section 6. Harnessing the youth dividend. Let's talk about Africa's secret weapon, its young people. With a median age significantly lower than other regions, Africa is experiencing a youth bulge. This demographic shift presents both a challenge and an opportunity. Here's the thing, a large young population can be a powerful engine for economic growth. But only if those young people have access to quality education, decent jobs, and opportunities to thrive. Without these essential ingredients, the youth bulge can lead to social unrest, unemployment, and instability. African governments need to prioritize investments in education and job creation. This means equipping young people with the skills they need for the 21st century workforce. It also means creating an enabling environment for entrepreneurship and innovation to flourish. Section 7. Education, the key to unlocking potential. Imagine a classroom in a bustling African city. The students are engaged, curious, and eager to learn. They're not just memorizing facts, they're developing critical thinking skills, problem-solving abilities, and a thirst for knowledge. This is the power of education. Education is not just about getting a degree, it's about empowering individuals to reach their full potential. It's about breaking down barriers, challenging the status quo, and creating a more just and equitable society. In the context of Africa's development, education is not just important, it's essential. Investing in education, particularly in girls' education, has a ripple effect throughout society. It leads to higher earning potential, improved health outcomes, and greater civic engagement. It's an investment in the future, and it's an investment we can't afford not to make. Section 8. Breaking free from commodity dependence. For too long, many African economies have been stuck in a cycle of commodity dependence. They export raw materials like oil, minerals, and agricultural products, while importing finished goods at a much higher price. It's like selling a cake at the price of flour. This over-reliance on commodities makes African economies vulnerable to price fluctuations in the global market. When prices are high, everyone's happy. But when prices drop, as they inevitably do, economies take a hit. It's time to break free from this boom and bust cycle. The solution lies in economic diversification. This means moving beyond extractives and investing in higher value-added sectors such as manufacturing, technology, and tourism. It's about processing raw materials locally, creating jobs, and building more resilient and sustainable economies. Section 9. Building a brighter future. Despite the challenges, there's a palpable sense of optimism about Africa's future. Across the continent, young people are driving innovation, entrepreneurs are creating jobs, and civil society is demanding accountability. The ingredients for success are all there, but realizing this potential requires a collective effort. It requires African governments to create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive, invest in education and infrastructure, and tackle corruption head-on. It also requires the international community to support Africa's development, not with handouts, but with partnerships based on mutual respect and shared prosperity. The narrative about Africa is changing. It's time to move beyond outdated stereotypes and recognize the continent's true potential. A continent on the cusp of greatness, ready to take its rightful place as a global leader. This is Africa's moment, and the world is watching.